back to the 44th episode of the BatChums podcast. I'm Drew Leiter, and joining me tonight is my co-host, the man, the myth, the new legend, Mike Gordon.
Howdy, and word to your mother.
I
I'm
think
sorry.
howdy's pretty appropriate for this episode.
Well, yeah, I can see where you'd say that. Sure, sure. Yeah, not quite. Yeah, we'll find out a little bit more about the villain and all of that. So, but yeah, I think that's fair. Howdy.
This is Batman 66, Season 2, Episode 9, The Greatest Mother of Them All. Episode aired Wednesday, October 5th, 1966, directed by Oscar Rudolph and written by Robert C. Dennis and Earl Barrett. Is that that's the same writers from last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, you got that. I think you got that mistaken. The writer on this is
Uh,
Henry Slezar or
yeah,
Slezar.
I must have goofed and not switched it.
Yeah, yeah. This is a guy who's not written before. He hasn't written the show before. He has written before, but he hasn't written Batman before. So this is his first, and I think this and the corresponding second part of this story are his only credits on this show. So, but yeah, it's a new guy, and I'll say it right now, it's a new villain. This is not somebody from the comics. The character is based on once again a real life character. This Batman show seems to be, if we're not going to do villains from the comics, we're going to take villains from history, whether it be King Tut or the Archer, that kind of thing, Robin Hood, or in this case, Ma Parker, which is obviously a play on Ma Barker, who was a criminal who ran a gang in the 30s, I think 20s or 30s. I'm not really up on exactly like her career as a criminal, but she did have sons. She was famous. She was a ruthless matriarch, and she had sons, and they worked out of, I think she was out of the South, so Missouri, Florida, that kind of thing. So yeah, you're right about the southern aspect of it. And I don't, to be honest with you, I don't know too much more about her, except that there have been many movies made about her and her crime spree, of course. And one of them called Hot Mama, I think. Is that right? Yes. Was Bloody Mama, sorry. Uh, was uh, She was played by Shelley Winters. And it was filmed after this. So I uh I almost think that this was an audition for her to play the real life uh uh Ma Barker. So yeah, so Shelley Winters plays Bloody Mama in a Roger Corman movie in 1970. So yeah, that was a little bit later than this. So just since we're talking about this, are you familiar with Ma Barker or Ma Parker or any of or even Shelley Winters for that matter?
No, and when I saw her name, I was like, is she related to Jonathan Winters? And I looked it up. Nope.
No, no, they're not. Shelley Winters has a distinguished career. She is a award-winning actress, and she's been in things like Night of the Hunter, Lolita, which was directed by Stanley Kubrick. Poseidon Adventure is probably one that a lot of people know her from. And she also did a lot of it's weird because she worked on upper echelon things like the things I just mentioned, like A-list pictures, but she also did a lot of like TV and B pictures, like The Sex Symbol. Cleopatra Jones is a fun one that she's in. She plays I know this is surprising, but she plays a mob boss in that too. I think she plays a crime boss in that. And she's in a bunch of stuff. So she's got a huge, like a long, distinguished career. So she's one that definitely people would have been like, we know who this is, and that's quite a catch, getting her to be on this show. So, and I think she does a pretty good job. and I can't wait to talk more about her. But yeah, I'm kind of surprised that you didn't ring any bells for you.
Nope. I don't know a lot of the older movies like you do. So,
That's why I'm here, sir, to help you out.
all right. So let's dive into this. Gotham Chamber of Commerce Mother of the Year presentation. The host introduces the Mother of the Year. Ma Parker comes out from behind a curtain and then holds up the crowd. Ma Parker introduces her boys, Pretty Boy, Machine Gun, and Mad Dog. Reluctantly, she introduces her daughter, Legs. They steal all the ladies' money and jewelry. Bruce and Aunt Harriet are teaching Dick the Greek language when Alfred informs him of the bat phone. Bruce makes the excuse that Commissioner Gordon is a Greek scholar of note. He may be able to tell them more than books and blackboards. Aunt Harriet tells Alfred that Bruce comes up with some bright ideas.
You know, I know that Aunt Harriet's there to make sure that, that everything's on the up and up, that, and at least as far as the optics of the show, that it doesn't look like Bruce and Dick have a weird relationship. But it seems to me that if anybody's going to think that they have a weird relationship, it's going to be Aunt Harriet. Because she's like, goodness gracious. But we do get to see Aunt Harriet here, and she speaks and she's interacting. I think this is the first time in a while that we've kind of seen it. Well, in the Catwoman when she was dancing around, so that was fun. But here we see her, and it's great to see her here. She was in the minstrel one as well. I remember she was kind of taken with the young, handsome minstrel. So it's good to see her here because she gets the last couple weeks off because of the Tut episode. But I was she also has that line where, like Dick's being funny when he's like, I don't know, it's all Greek to me. And she says, she kind of like, riffs off him and says, it was all Greek to the Greeks too. But anyway, we got a comment from about our discussion about Aunt Harriet in a past episode this season. I think this was from either the first or second episode with the Archer, and gotten a lot of great comments from people on certainly on YouTube or on Facebook and all the social medias where I post. You guys can't post enough. I mean, obviously, if you have great things to say, it's awesome. If you don't have great things to say, maybe not. But uh,
He will judge you.
special appearance by Magic Batman. Um, he doesn't fool around either, man. But there's someone who comments quite a bit actually on our YouTube channel, and I want to give her a special shout out. I believe it's a woman. Sorry if I'm getting the gender wrong, but and I might butcher the name too because the username is something like Lisa Witch or Lisa La Witch. And anyway, but in discussions with about Aunt Harriet, she says Madge Blake was declining in health towards the end of her career. She died in 1969. And since SAG members are paid less for non-speaking roles, that could be a reason why she didn't speak in the movie and or, this particular episode, which was the one with the Archer where she didn't speak. And then she says, keep up the great work. The worst is yet to come. Of course, it is. We will make sure of that. Uh, if you think things can't get any worse, stay tuned. Um, but yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, Madge is getting up there, unfortunately, and I guess any time that she's on screen is great. I wish they did more with her. Obviously, we've really loved how Alfred is used a lot of times, and I do kind of feel like in the first season it got kind of old that Aunt Harriet didn't know. She wasn't in on it, and now. It would be nice if she did find out, but I don't think that's ever going to happen on this series. And but I think Madge does a great job in the character, and I wish there was more for her to do. And yeah, so but anyway, we appreciate the thoughts and the comments. And yeah, we don't claim to be experts, so if you've got information to give to us, please just send it our way and you can reach us on all the social medias and just comment right below on YouTube and we'll see it. We appreciate you.
All right. At police headquarters, Batman wonders how Ma Parker has remained at large. Commissioner Gordon receives a call stating that the Gotham PD have just surrounded Ma Parker's hideout on Cherry Blossom Road.
Wait. There's some stuff that's happening here that's really funny. And this is before Batman arrives. But before they even call Batman, Gordon and O'Hara have a discussion, and they mention how Ma Parker and her band have now attacked a place in Gotham, and they're like, she's run ragged the rest of the country. She's run recluse all over the rest of the country, but she has stayed away from Gotham. And and Gordon goes, "Why do you think that is, O'Hara?" And O'Hara says, "Because we have the finest police force in the country." To which Gordon just puts his hand on O'Hara's shoulder and says, now, let's give credit where credit's due." So, so it is, I think, really well written. Here we got, right away, we got the question, why is she in Gotham? Why is she taking on Gotham? And why specifically is she taking on the dynamic duo? Because she doesn't have to. She's been successfully, she's had a successful career as a criminal all around the country. Why has she come to Gotham to match wits with a dynamic duo? And that's a question that will lead right up to the end of this episode. And I think it's something that we don't get very often. Usually they're just like going, we don't know what's going on. But right here we get, like, right away we get a question that we're gonna probably get answered to, hopefully.
Holy rocking chair. Batman and Robin decide to help out, or Batman and Robin decide to help an old woman across the street and into the penitentiary.
It's a great line. It's a great line where at the end of that scene, Batman says to Robin, "Let's help an old lady across the street and into the penitentiary." Oh, Adam's great here. Very good stuff here.
Inside the hideout, the adult kids are eating dinner, but acting like a bunch of 5-year-olds not wanting to eat their vegetables and fighting with one another. Ma tells them not to worry about the police, she'll take care of them. I, I had to laugh because, they're sitting around this table eating. The police are outside and and it's like they don't care.
They don't care. They don't care.
And
Ma's got
the
everything
kids
under control.
and the kids are acting these are adult kids. They're acting like 5-year-olds.
Well, yeah. Hey, I'm not going to criticize a mother's raising choices while raising their kids, but yeah, they're they are quite the crew, that's for sure.
Ma Parker breaks a window and then starts firing a Madsen M50 submachine gun out the window at the police.
Wow.
The pol
You got that labeled. How did you recognize the gun or something? I was like, wow.
I saw the gun and I'm like, what kind of gun is that? So I Googled it.
Oh, wow. I'm like, man, that's really good. That's a level of detail. I love the trope though. It's the whole cliche of like smashing the window and then firing at it. Like, it's just, you see that in all the movies, and Batman is not above like just dipping or leaning into a cliche.
The police fire back. One of the officers state they heard that the Parkers are terrible shots.
Yeah, that's funny. It's
They,
like,
they
what are we going to
must
do? He's like, just stay in their line of fire. Because there's terrible shots. I'm like, well, that's pretty easy to do.
you didn't know you didn't know Ma Parker had a side gig training stormtroopers, did you?
I know, right? We always talk about, in first season, it was rare for us to see gunplay, guns fired, et cetera, on the series. I mean, we get more than that makes this whole sequence more than makes up for that. There's so much gunplay in this episode, in particular in this sequence, that it's like, wow, you guys have just blown your whole gunplay budget for the whole year.
Batman and Robin arrive on the scene. The Gotham police tell Batman and Robin that the Parkers have an arsenal in there and it would take an army to get them out. I have to laugh at that because, dude, you only have one old woman shooting at you, and you got a whole police force shooting at the house. They have a whole arsenal in there. Yeah, they're all sitting around the table eating.
This is the best police force in the country, Drew. How dare you? How dare you throw shade on them?
Holy gunpowder! Batman and Robin decide to go on the roof. Inside, Ma Parker starts working on her knitting, waiting for Batman and Robin to enter. She keeps giving the kids updates on the Cape Crusaders' whereabouts. She also tells the kids that apple pie is for dessert.
It's
I could
coming.
go for some apple pie, I can tell you that. Batman and Robin come crashing through the roof. Ma points her M50 submachine gun at the Cape Crusaders, but Batman quickly uses his bat magnet to steal the weapon from Ma Parker's hands. And she seemed pretty surprised at that.
That was a pretty nice move. We haven't seen that before, I don't think. That's the first time we've seen the bat magnet and used quite effectively here, I think.
Ma tells Legs to clear the table while the boys fight Batman and Robin. Batman and Robin take out the boys fairly easily. Ma Parker starts crying about her boys, but Batman tells Ma Parker that the law will take care of her and her boys.
One of the reasons why she's
Batman
crying,
and Robin
one
lead.
of the reasons why she's crying, Drew, sorry, but because this is quite startling because one of them looks like he's bleeding all over his face. And I don't know if we've ever seen blood on this show before. And so it looked pretty striking. And then Robin just says, "Nah, it's only ketchup." But it looked like movie blood. I mean, it looks like the guy got hit. I mean, it looks pretty bad. So I was almost shocked when I saw that. I was like, "Whoa, this show's going to a place that I've never seen before." But it's only ketchup.
Batman and Robin lead Ma Parker out to the police. She continues crying and begging the police not to hurt her. Suddenly, she pulls a smoke bomb from her hair. Yellow smoke fills the air. Ma Parker puts on a mask. Her kids run out of the house wearing masks. Batman is able to nab Pretty Boy, but the rest escape.
She's got a
Back at the
plan.
Batcave. What's that?
She's got a plan.
Yep. Back at the Batcave, Batman uses the Bat computer to predict Ma Parker's next move. Robin wonders if that will really work. Batman mentions the Archer and the way he used to pull his crimes. The Bat computer dings and prints out what looks like a ticket. Batman reads Batman reads it. It states that Ma Parker has been robbing wealthy society gatherings. I'm going to stop right here for a second because I thought it was interesting because here's another callback to previous episodes with the Archer. So it seems like the show is doing this more than we expected.
Yeah, I was surprised by that too. And what I was really surprised by, where he talks about the Archer, and that was the episode, that was the two-parter that started the season. And in it, the Archer once uh, is thinks that Batman has a computer that can predict where crimes are going to take place, which we thought at the time was kind of odd when we were watching that. We're like, this is weird. We don't. I mean, the Bat computer helps out and does stuff, but it doesn't predict when crimes are going to happen. So I don't know where he would get that knowledge, but apparently uh, it's knowledge that they have, and Archer had it, and Batman remembers that Archer wanted to get, and he's using it here for that same reason. So maybe Archer wasn't that out of line. Maybe we owe Archer an apology.
Maybe. Batman lists off several social gatherings and decides that one at the movies is the most likely target. It's off to the movies.
The movie that
Bat-
they're showing is The Woman in Red, which is a reference to the killing of mobster John Dillinger.
oh, I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
learned something. Batman and Robin arrive at the movie theater that is playing The Woman in Red, just as the Parkers are leaving after robbing it. Ma Parker hijacks a truck and the kids jump in the back. Machine Gun drops his violin case and gets left behind when he tries to grab it. He is captured by Batman and Robin. I like in that scene, how he drops his case, he tries to get on the truck and misses. And then when Batman and Robin catch up to him, this guy's named Machine Gun. What are you expecting to find in the case? It's a violin.
It's a fiddle. Mom wants him to take lessons so he can be fiddler instead of. Oh wait, that's another DC villain. So I don't know if we can we can use that. So
Batman and Robin drive around the city looking for the truck, but are unable to find it. At a stoplight, Batman gets out of the Batmobile and asks a citizen to put a sticker on his vehicle that states, "Lock your car, your police department." I
yeah,
thought that was
they're
weird.
they're after a villain. They're in pursuit of a villain, and Batman stops the car, gets out, tells this citizen that he needs to put this bumper sticker on and he needs to lock up his car, and then he goes back into his Batmobile. Like that's like and he just does that. Like he's just like, wow, that's man. He told that guy. Right, that guy be like, man, okay, Batman, I'm sorry.
Was there a problem with people not locking their cars and getting broken into or stuff stolen or just the cars getting stolen themselves? What
Apparently in
what was the
Gotham there
purpose of this?
apparently in Gotham there is. Yes. So
So I didn't know if it felt like a public service announcement to me.
really, that would be a weird sort of bumper sticker to put on your car too.
Yes, it would. Ma Parker is robbing a local drugstore when Batman and Robin show up. Ma Parker starts shooting up the place. Batman is able to take out Mad Dog. Ma and Legs escape. So at this point, we've caught all the boys.
Got all the boys, and we get, Ma just like shooting away in this pharmacy. And I think at one point, uh, you know, Batman says she can't move a hit moving target, so let's keep moving. So that's kind of fun. Um, the crowd afterwards, it's so weird because this crowd of
It's,
people like just surround Batman and Robin in the pharmacy afterwards, and then they're all like, "Thank you, Batman," and then they just all walk away like at the same time. It looks really weird, really weird.
it it does.
And to which point, Robin turns to Batman, and I don't know if this is in your notes, but so forgive me, but is it in your notes?
Yeah, if it's
Okay,
what I think you're going to do. Let
then
me
go
just
ahead.
read the
Then go ahead.
notes. A crowd comes up clapping and thanking the Cape Crusaders for saving them. When the crowd leaves, Robin states that at least they took her three boys out of action. Batman reminds Robin that Commissioner Gordon said that the daughter was more dangerous than the boys.
Oh,
Robin,
see?
hold on, I'm getting to it. It's in the next paragraph. Robin states that the daughter's legs remind him of Catwoman's legs. Batman smiles, stating that Robin is growing up. He
Yeah.
pats Robin on the back, reminding him that when crime fighting, always keep your sights raised.
So Robin says that legs is legs. Kind of remind him of Catwoman, which is an interesting villain of choice for him to mention there, name drop, because uh, well, let's just say we might be seeing her soon.
I'm kind of curious because I don't remember. Does Robin or Dick Grayson have any love interest during the series?
I do kind of remember some aspects of that being brought up, so we'll see. But yeah, the lad is growing up. It's just the
Back
way he said. I gotta again, Burt Ward. He just he acts so innocently a lot of times. He's like, "Gee, Batman, her legs kind of remind me of Catwoman's." Like it just sounds like something that a 3-year-old would say or something like. I mean, but his delivery is sincere and feels so wholesome that I got to give credit to Burt for just being able to. I mean, yeah, he didn't have much range as an actor, but man, he was, I think, perfectly cast in this part because, you know, he gets all the attention for saying like the holy this and holy that, But I think overall he is great, and he has great chemistry with Adam. They're just really fun to watch. And I thought this an episode is another example of that.
Back at the Batcave, Batman states that even the crime computer can't figure out where Ma Parker's hideout is. Batman and Robin decide to check out an old folks' home on the outskirts of Gotham. I have to laugh at this too because I thought that was a weird place to think of where they'd be hiding.
The whole sequence is weird. I mean, they have great chemistry, like I just mentioned, but the whole, like, what they're saying just doesn't make sense. I mean, Robin's like, gee, Batman, computers might get tired too. And Batman's just well, old chum, I think you're growing up too because you've got great ideas or whatever. Because he's like, maybe an old folks home, and he's like, let's try it. So, it's a very, very strange way of making sort of a deduction on where to find her. But hey, it works. I mean, they go there, and guess what? She's there now. We'll find out later that Ma Parker, I mean, we already know that she's working on stuff. So she's already thinking 10 steps ahead of everybody here. So she knew how that was going to play out. She knew how that discussion in the Batcave was going to turn out. Don't know how, but she knew. Mother knows best.
Batman and Robin show a nurse a picture of Ma Parker, and the nurse states that she looks like Mrs. Smith. The nurse states that Mrs. Smith should be coming down the hall now. I thought that was funny too, knowing exactly when she's going to be coming down
I
the hall.
mean, that's how tight a schedule they got in this whole home. So they know exactly when they're coming down the hall. Like, oh, it's time for her to come down the hall.
Legs, dressed up in a nurse's costume, is pushing Ma Parker in a wheelchair. When Ma Parker sees Batman and Robin, she pulls a lever on her wheelchair and two rockets activate. Robin shouts, I hope I pronounced this right, Holy Werner von Braun.
Yeah.
Look at that wheelchair go. Ma Parker crashes into a wall at the end of the hall, and Ma Parker gives herself up. I forgot. I was going to look that up, but I forgot. Who is Werner von Braun? Is it some race car driver or something?
He's a rocket scientist. A rocket scientist.
Oh, a rocket scientist. Okay.
Yeah. So it's not rocket science, Drew. It's rocket science.
when
Yeah, it's a weird fun. This is when the show, gets absurd for no reason at all. And it's just like, there's no reason to do this. I mean, it's an expense, obviously, to set this up, to get a stunt woman and all this kind of stuff. And ultimately it's not like she breaks out. And of course, Ma Parker knows she's not going to break out. She just is willing to take one on the chin, I guess. But unless that's her, I don't know how quickly her plan, whether she was going to try to escape here and then be caught again at some other point. But in any case, it just seems like it was unnecessary, but again, really fun, which is a great thing about this show. A lot of it, you could describe the whole show as being unnecessary, but fun.
I gotta say that the rocket wheelchair scene was fun.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's just like, whoa.
And she even made a point to tell Legs that, we got to make it look convincing,
Yeah,
whatever her
that's true.
plan
Yeah,
is.
exactly. Because she's like, oh, I give up. She was going to give up right away.
When Robin leads Ma Parker away, Batman is suspicious that something is wrong. Sometime later at the Gotham Penitentiary, Batman, Robin, and Commissioner Gordon listen as Warden Crichton tells Ma Parker and her family that their job at Gotham Penitentiary is not to punish them, but to help them become useful citizens and to make them learn that crime doesn't pay.
And the first time we've seen David Lewis as Warden Crichton in a while.
Yeah,
He was on a couple of episodes last year, first season, and it's good to see him back here. He's a fun actor. I've seen him in a lot of things. Probably most notably is General Hospital. He had a huge run on that show for a long time. But yeah, great actor, and I'm glad to see him back again.
After Batman, Robin, and Commissioner Gordon leave, Warden Crichton tells the two guards in his office to take Ma Parker and her family back to their cells. Instead, they seize him. Ma Parker sits down, grabs one of Warden Crichton. Yeah. Ma Parker sits down, grabs one of the warden's cigars, and one of her boys lights it up for her. Ma Parker explains that the warden Ma Parker explains to the warden that she has been planning this for months. She's been switching out members of her gang with the guards. They are taking over the prison. Ma tells the warden that she had one of her men put explosives in the Batmobile. When the Batmobile hits 60, the Batmobile will blow up.
I want to take it out in
Ma
the car,
Parker,
man.
Ma Parker ruling the pen. Dynamite in the engine. Will Batman be blasted? Will the Boy Wonder be bombed? Will Batman be blown to bits? It can't be true, or can it? Don't miss the next episode. Same bat time, same bat channel.
We have been really critical of the episodes so far this season, the second season, which introduced new characters. But I must say this one is almost a home run for me. I mean, this one is right up there. I thought this was fun. I thought Shelley Winters was great. I thought the gang was fun. The plot is great. The fact that, you've got a villain who wants to take over the prison because she knows that the world's biggest, cleverest villains, because they mentioned this a couple times, the world's cleverest villains are all here. Joker, Penguin. They don't mention them by name, but they're all here. Now, granted, if they were that clever, they wouldn't be there. But but hey, they always find a way out. So they must be pretty clever. So and I think she's like, I want to go where the big boys play. So this is great. I mean, this is one of those things that, I don't want to make too much of it, but down the line when we see things like Nightfall, the big storyline that was in, 90s or 2000s or whatever, where you've got, Bane attacks the Arkham Asylum and the penitentiaries and lets all Batman's villains free, so that makes him, that makes him vulnerable. I mean, we've got this is that level of thinking, I think, and it kind of is really starts here, I think. And you've got little nice touches, like some of the things that we've already mentioned. There's odes throughout this to, if you know your gangster movies, if you know your mobster movies. There's a lot of like other little Easter eggs in this too that you can look at. A lot of it's cliched stuff, but some of it's very specific to certain movies and stuff. And other nice touches, the prison numbers on Leg's prison uniform appear to be her measurements. So that's I don't, I haven't I don't know if that's accurate, but I'll just take them at its word, their word for it. Um and then you got at the end someone who wants to blow up the car, and I'm like, man, why? No, I mean, I can understand killing Batman and Robin, but don't blow up the car, man. That's I love that car. I love that car. But I really thought this was really, really fun and a really great first part of a two-parter, and a really great introduction to this villain, and a smart villain that I love it when the villains are smart.
I got to tell you, I remember this episode.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
I don't remember the details of the episode. I remember Ma Parker. I remember the
Sure.
boys. I remember the last scene where she sits down and puts the cigar in. So I have seen this one before, but I
Wow.
didn't
And
remember the
without a
details.
Viewmaster.
Yes, without a Viewmaster. So we finally got into an episode that I remembered besides the Catwoman one. So I did remember the Ma Parker and the boys being villains. I didn't remember, the details. I couldn't even remember what the cliffhanger was. Because when I saw the cliffhanger, I was like, yeah, I don't remember that. And then when I saw him throw the dynamite into the Batmobile, I'm like, how's that supposed to explode right at 60 miles per hour. That didn't make any sense to me.
Don't ever apply logic to this show, Drew. That's you should know that by now. We're in season 2, my man. Don't ever apply logic or reason to this series because that way lies madness. But yeah, I just find it odd that, you would put it at 60 because, Batman is always obeying the law unless he's chasing after somebody. So, what are the odds if he's not chasing you, Ma Parker, because you're in jail? What are the odds that he's going to rev up to 60? Because that would be, dare I say, illegal. Like the speed limit, I think even around 1966 was still 65 or no, 55, right? So, I think maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know when the 55 was implemented. I do think that was something that was nationwide for a while, but and especially on a lot of the in a city like Gotham, how often are you really going to go like more than 60 miles an hour?
I'm
And
I'm Googling it right now. What was the speed limit in 1966? Because I'm curious.
so I think that
Oh,
yeah.
oh, that's the United Kingdom. We don't want to. It brought out the United Kingdom. What was the speed limit in 1966 in
in
the
I
United States?
in Gotham City. What was it in Gotham City? Let's be more specific. No, but
Speed
yeah.
limits varied by state in the United States in the 1960s. Before the 1970s, each state was responsible for setting its own speed limits.
I really think, and I really, look, and Batman's nice and all, but like, if you see somebody like looking under your hood of the car, you don't just drive off after. Like, it kind of should be like, hey, let's. I mean, granted, he doesn't know that these trustees of the prison system are, he's going to take them at their word because he's Batman. But really, you see somebody monkeying around the hood, you should really check your car before you turn the ignition. So, but I think the way they're going to get out of this, and we'll find out next week, is by just not going. I mean, by going the speed limit. Then you're good.
All right, I found something on Google. It says 1974, President Richard Nixon signed a federal law setting a national maximum speed limit of 55 miles per hour on all interstate roads. This law was in response to the 1973 oil embargo,
Well, that's good to know.
and it didn't change until 1987 when Congress increased the national speed limit to 65.
Hmm.
So,
Well, okay.
oh, and then here we go. Even more information. 1995, Congress repealed the national speed limit law, returning speed limit responsibilities to the states. So there you go.
Gotcha.
There's your history lesson for the day.
Well, thank you, Drew. Thank you, Drew. Learn something new from Drew.
Hey, Batman teaches us stuff all the time.
He does. He does. Thank you, old chum.
I got to say, this was a fun episode. I
You
really
like it?
enjoyed watching it. And I like the fact that I actually remembered that I'd seen it before. So I'm excited to find out what happens in the second half because I have no clue. All right. Well, that wraps up another episode. Do you have a shout out, Mike?
I do. Look, I'm on I do a lot of reviewing and watching of pop culture, TV, movies, comics, novels, et cetera, et cetera. And I like to talk about them. I like to review them. I like to mention them. So one thing that I've started this year is I've started a Substack, sort of a blog post so that every time I watch something or read something I mention what my thoughts are on it. And so I would love to have people check it out if they are interested in my thoughts about Batman. Maybe they're interested in my thoughts about other things as well. And if they'd like to discuss them, interact with me, that's great. I love talking about good stuff. I mean, I'm not into hate posting, so most of this is I always try to find like the good things and things. And I don't like to bash on things, so you're not going to find any sort of hate posts on there. But and I'm hoping that every so often, a lot of the times I'll post something really just short and sweet. I just try to get to the point. No spoilers. Either I liked it, I didn't like it, or what worked for me, or one of the reasons to watch this is performances by this person or that person, that kind of thing. But every once in a while, I'll try to do something more detailed if something really moves me or I feel like there's something that I really have a lot to say about something. So check it out. If you go to Substack, and it's under New Legend Mike. So it's newlegendmike.substack.com. The name of the post is Step Up to the Mic. The name of the Substack blog is Step Up to the Mic. So it is my personal Substack. So I hope you'll check it out.
All right. And for my shout out, because you mentioned it, I got a shout out about Batman Nightfall because that's one of the biggest events in Batman history.
Did you get vibes of that too in this? Or was it just me?
Yeah. Yeah, a little bit, especially when you mentioned it. So when you mentioned it, I was like, yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I was wondering if that was what Mal Parker was planning on doing, was breaking out the criminals. I'm very curious to find out if that's what's going to happen. But that's basically what Nightfall's about. Bane comes to Gotham City, wants to take on Batman and become basically the ruler of Gotham. And one of the ways he wants to wear Batman down is by releasing all his villains so that all Batman's villains are on the loose, and Batman's going to have to spend a lot of energy and time recapturing them, basically wearing him down. Plus, you got Bane, who's already bulked up on Venom. So, yeah, it's a very if you've not read Nightfall, it's one of the biggest in my opinion, it's one of the biggest events in Batman history.
I think you're right. Yeah.
And it's it's a story I've read more than once. I haven't read it for a long time though. I'd like to read it again, but we'll see if that happens. I got enough comics I read now and review every week.
There's a lot of great there's I'm surprised they've never really done a uh animated film version of it. Because it is so it is such a, like you said, a major story. It's one of the biggest Batman stories ever told, and it is pretty long. So I have the individual issues. I got them as they were coming out. It was shortly after I graduated from college, and it sucked me right back into reading comics. It was the right time at the right place. I got those first. I was like, oh, what's happening with Batman? And it just so happened it was right around that same time when it started. So I definitely encourage people to get it. Obviously, to get the original issues is kind of taxing and probably expensive at this point, but it's been collected a number of different ways and trades and hardcovers and all of that. I know that there's a novel version that was written by Denny O'Neil, who was the editor on the project. So that I can suggest that was pretty good. And I do believe there's an audio version of it as well. I think it has been I think it was adapted into an audio format. So yeah, Nightfall with Denny O'Neil. That's it. That's the book.
I forgot
Um,
I had this until you mentioned it. I went and grabbed it off the shelf.
so yeah, so I agree. In whatever way and format you can check it out, I definitely think it's worth checking out because especially if all your experience with Bane has been the movie and the movies that he was in, as well as like, this TV show or whatever, you haven't really seen Bane. I don't know if Bane's been used as nearly as well as he was in that story ever again. But yeah, that if you ever wonder what the big deal is about Bane, read Nightfall, and you'll understand what the big deal about Bane is.
Yes. And what was I forget. I was going to mention something else, but I forgot already. What was I going to mention? Oh, that's what it was. We talked about King Tut last episode,
Hmm.
and I wanted to mention because in Maxie Zeus, who's a character that's kind of based off of King Tut, is in Nightfall. I remember him
Yeah, they all
escaping out.
escape.
He was one
Yeah,
of the, they all escaped, but I remember seeing him escape in that, and I think Batman actually deals with them in one of the issues. So if you want to see a King Tut like character, he's in there. But Batman's going after all his major villains in that.
that's
So
the beauty. Almost every single Bat villain of note is in that story because he has to get them all and or try to get as many of them back as possible. And yeah, so he deals with a lot of them, and it's pretty good. It's a really good story.
it's a really good
Good
story.
shadow.
I was collecting comics at the time too. I'd been reading Batman for a while, and this is time around. People who know me know that my favorite Robin is Tim Drake, so this was during his time period. So,
Yeah, very nice. Yes, that's right.
all right, if you'd like to comment on anything we've talked about tonight, you can reach us at our feedback line 317-455-8411. Leave us a message, text us, or you can email us at batchumspodcast@gmail.com. All right, you ready to get out of here, Batchum?
Bat Chum's ready to move out.
Atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Don't worry, the worst is yet to come.